Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the 20th edition of Random Ramblings with Randomonium. I am your host, Randomonium. Today is going to be a special game because in this game, I'm going to get camped. And I'm not just talking a little bit. I'm talking rage-inducing, table-flipping, camped. And this is something that everybody in League of Legends has had to deal with at one point in time. And most people deal with it very, very poorly. Usually they start raging, they start going on tilt, they start blaming their teammates, and they pretty much decide that the game is a loss before, it's even 20 minutes into the game. A lot of times you'll hear people say, oh my god, forfeit 20, or they'll start blaming their team, noob jungler's not ganking for me, mid lane isn't rotating, nobody's helping me, my lane is lost, I'm just going to AFK, and I'm here to show you guys that just because you get camped doesn't mean the game is over. I'm here to show you guys that you can still win the game, and that being negative and being toxic is not the right thing to do when you're getting camped. Speaking of toxicity, that's another topic that has really been on my mind a lot recently. So later on in the video, I'm going to talk about kind of the root causes behind people being toxic in video games. But anyway, let's get into the matchup. I'm going to be playing Gnar in top lane again for this game, and our jungler is going to be Master Yi. LeBlanc will be our mid laner, Ashe will be our ADC, and Morgana will be our support. We're going to be going up against Jax in top lane, Xin Zhao in the jungle, Diana will be at mid, Vayne will be their ADC, and Braum will be their support. So I'm playing Gnar again. And the reason why I'm playing Gnar is I was last pick again in this game, and everybody else has called their role, so I got stuck with top lane again. And this happens a lot to people, and a lot of times people will respond to this kind of really negatively. And I kind of want to try and change your mentality on that if you're one of those type of people. If you're last pick and you get forced into a role that you're not used to, look at that as a challenge, right? Because anybody can win a game if they're playing their main champion in their favorite role. Really what kind of defines you as a League of Legends player is how you can play in the other lanes when you're in an unfavorable matchup and you're not sure of your abilities in that lane. Whether or not you can still come through and be useful for your team to help get the win. So, for me, Gnar is a great pick. And anytime you play a ranked game or a draft normal, you should always have like one or two pocket picks at every single lane that you can play comfortably, and that you feel like no matter what, I can probably go even in this lane with this champion. And Gnar is that champion for me on top lane because he's got some really safe farming with his mini form. He's got some great CC and mega form. He helps out a lot in team fights. He has very impactful teleports. And he's just overall just a really kind of safe, good champion who's also got an escape, which helps when you're getting camped. But you can see here, Xin Zhao's rotating up, and I'm pretty much dead center in my lane. It's not like I'm super pushed up, but he's able to come through Tri-Brush, and as soon as he comes on to me, you got Jax with his Counter-Strike, Xin with his knock-up, and I'm just dead almost immediately. And this feels horrible when there's just nothing you can do. Like, there literally was nothing I could do. I couldn't even get my hop off. I was dead before I got out of the CC. So now Jax, he got the first blood, so he's got a gold lead on me now. He's getting all this CS, and if he's smart, he's gonna push the tower, and that just sucks. Now I'm behind in lane, and what am I gonna do? So I'm already down one kill. I don't think I'm gonna get camped, so I'm just gonna keep playing the way that I would normally play. And since Jackson back, I feel like I have an advantage because now I have the item advantage. So I'm going to kind of push him around a little bit since he's at half health and I've got an extra item on him. You can see Xin Zhao is already coming back for a second gank, and I have no idea this is going to happen. Xin Zhao comes in and I see him, and look at it again, same combo, but thankfully I have enough health that I'm able to get my hop off and to back away. So now this is the second time I've been ganked in 2 minutes. So now I'm feeling like, alright, I'm probably going to get camped in this game. And if you kind of come to that realization like, alright, something's up, I'm probably going to get camped here, then you need to start changing the way you play. You need to kind of treat the lane like you're in a 1v2. So how does that change how you play? Well, the first thing you gotta do is you have to buy more wards. Wards are really gonna deny a lot of the ganking ability of the enemy jungler. The second thing you really have to do is you really just want to focus on CSing, and you don't want to push the lane. So you want to really kind of focus on last hitting and not using your abilities like what I'm doing here. I'm just waiting, just last hitting. I'm not constantly throwing out auto attacks. I want the lane to be on my half of the map as much as possible, because if I come to his half of the map, that really opens me up to ganks. And kind of like the third thing that you really want to be careful of is you don't want to all in your opponent. You don't want to go for a kill unless you have vision on the jungler and you know he's not there. So you can see here I'm pushing up the lane. I don't know where Jax is, but I'm not going to be stupid and try and push the tower because I have a feeling that I'm getting camped here. So I'm not crossing this halfway point. That's the most important thing. You can see Zen is looking for his third gank, and it comes up yet again, third time that he's ganked me. But thankfully, I'm able to escape. So when this happens, so now 3 ganks in 3 minutes, so I know that I'm going to get camped here. You just want to be safe, right? Because if the jungler keeps ganking you and keeps investing all this time and all these resources into you and they don't get kills, the jungler is going to start falling behind. He's getting starved right now of gold and experience. So you're going to start seeing a level disparity between junglers, you're going to start seeing a gold disparity between junglers, and by the mid game, if he doesn't get those ganks, he doesn't get those kills on you, he's going to be really kind of useless compared to our jungler. So when somebody tries to camp you, you really should be kind of grateful, right? Because as long as you know how to play when you're camped, as long as you can play conservatively and adjust your play style, it's going to wind up being in your benefit for your team. Because your jungler is going to get so much further ahead than their jungler. So hopefully you guys can look at it that way, that getting camped is not a bad thing. Getting camped is just setting up your team for success as long as you play correctly. Anyway, I've been focusing a lot on the top lane, so I'm going to go down to the bottom lane matchup with Morgana and Ashe. And this is a really interesting matchup because it really revolves around the Morgana binding. If Morgana can land her binding and then follow it up with an Ashe arrow, that's a pretty fantastic combo. So you can see right here, Morgana lands her binding, Yi comes in, but Braum is able to do his stand behind me to get away. Conversely, with Braum and Vayne, Vayne's got some amazing dueling potential, and combined with Braum's Unbreakable, it pretty much guarantees that you can't really focus her down as much as you would want to, as long as she stays by her support. So it's really kind of based off of the CC of Morgana and Ashe versus the raw power of Braum and Vayne. You can see here, Ashe is at slight disadvantage compared to Vayne, slight CS disadvantage, but she's holding her own pretty well. See, Morgana's throwing out her bindings, they're getting a lot of damage onto Braum, force Braum to use his Unbreakable, and now that we've reached level 6, you can see that Morgana's looking to go aggressive, because not only does she have her binding, she also has her ultimate, which definitely gives him a lot of CC, especially with Ashe's arrow. So you see the wave gets cleared, Morgana comes forward, lands her binding, you get the immediately arrow from Ashe to get the kill, and this ult by Vayne is very late. It allows Morgana to pop her ultimate and then Vayne can't get away in time, which allows him to get the double kill. And for those of you guys who don't know, it's kind of like a fun fact. When Morgana uses her ult, she actually reveals stealth enemies within range that have the soul shackle on them. So, like when Vayne, when she activates her ultimate and she gets 1 second of invulnerability or invisibility after she tumbles, Morgana is able to negate that, which is a huge advantage. Coming up to the top lane, LeBlanc came up here to assist me, and guess who's there? Yep, it's Xin Zhao yet again, pretty much just camping my lane. But definitely thank LeBlanc for her help. But you can see that I pinked right here, just because I knew that Xin Zhao was camping me, and he was going to come back and gank me yet again. So I know that Yi's around here. My rage bar is getting full, so I'm going to be looking to try and land a Mega Gnar onto Jax. I have no idea that Xin Zhao is still in the area, still trying to gank me. So I come forward and I land my Mega Gnar, get some pretty dang good damage off. As soon as Xin Zhao arrives, I gotta pretty much flash to get away. But thankfully Yi comes in, he activates his ult. This allows us to really turn the tide on them. Good flash by Xin to avoid my boomerang, but we're able to pick up a double kill. You can see here, I'm trying to hold the tower aggro, but I can't take any more shots. Yi winds up dying. So, you know, I tried my best to try and hold the turret aggro, but it wasn't enough to allow Yi to escape. And then Diana comes up here, I wasn't paying attention, winds up killing me. So good play by Diana, doing that rotation. So if you're getting camped, getting a counter gank can usually be very effective, especially if the enemy team tries to dive you. So if you anticipate a dive is coming, definitely call for your jungler or one of your other adjacent lanes to assist you. Alright, so mid lane's pushed up, bot lane's about neutral. He's down here clearing the scuttle crab, trying to get some vision, but he gets spotted out by a ward. This will allow Xin and Diana to rotate. You can see how quickly they pretty much kill him off. This arrow, I really don't like, because what is this arrow going to do? The arrow is pretty much going to do nothing. Even if it landed, it wouldn't have killed anyone or helped Master Yi survive. Blanc did a very good job kind of distortioning in to get the kill, but no reason to blow that arrow on somebody who dies because they're out of position. Save that for a chance when you can actually get a kill, because it's such a strong initiation. Another great binding by Morgana, get some damage down on Braum, kind of burst him out as much as possible, kind of negate his ability to use his Unbreakable to keep Vayne alive. So I'm still trying to keep the lane on my side of the map, because I don't have vision on Xin Zhao. I don't really know where he is or what's going on. So I'm going to try and keep the wave pushed to my side as much as possible. See, now bot lane wave is pushed up, so Xin Zhao is definitely going to come down and try and look for a gank. He gets spotted out by a ward, and now Yi is coming through and he's looking for a counter gank, which is definitely a very smart play on his part. So Morgana's going to throw out her binding, try to get let Xin Zhao know that he's spotted out, and he's going to try and back off. So now this is kind of an interesting play. So we're now 3v2. And Morgana's going to be looking for her engage, looking for her binding. Yi really should be like at the edge of this bush, because this is like an extra second or two of travel time that he doesn't need to waste. He should be right at this edge, ready to go, waiting for Morgana to kind of spring the trap. What Morgana should be doing is she needs to be wary of Braum, and she also needs to be wary of Vayne getting the Condemn into the wall. So she should be hugging this minion line as far away from the wall as possible so she can land her binding on Vayne without risk getting condemned into the wall. You see she kind of goes too close to the wall, is able to get condemned into the wall, and now we have no choice but to kind of spring her. Thankfully Yi's able to rush in, and the dive kind of happens. We are able to pick up the double kill, but then Xin Zhao is right there, and he's able to turn the fight back in their favor. And they wind up getting a double kill back. So that was not worth. That fight was not worth. It winds up being a 2 for 2. Definitely not worth it. And that's just because it was sloppily executed. There's no reason why Morgana needs to be so close to the wall. There's no reason why Yi should be so far back. You're talking, it only takes a second or two. A second or two difference is all it takes to turn a great situation into an even one or a bad one. But while this was going on, LeBlanc realized that Diana had rotated and she did the right thing, which was push the lane, try and get some tower damage. And she actually got, quite a bit of tower damage just from that one push. You can see him moving up the top lane. I know that Xin Zhao was just bot lane, so I'm not really worried about a gank. I feel like I can be a little bit more aggressive. I started pushing the lane a little bit, but I definitely don't want to hang out by his tower, because that definitely opens me up to getting ganked by Xin Zhao. So now that this lane is pushed up, I'm not going to stay up here. I'm going to try and impact a different lane. So I'm going to be rotating mid, because I see Diana so far pushed out. And Yi's rotating as well, which allows us to get a pretty easy gank onto Diana. And then, alright, so Diana just died. If you're Xin Zhao, trying to go all in on a 2v1 is not the right thing to do. This is pretty much just giving me some gold back. And I thank Xin Zhao for deciding to feel bad about camping me so much and giving me some free gold. But this is not what you want to do if you're on the other side. So I get the double kill, and immediately I try to teleport back top, because I don't want Jax to get this tower. So we're able to pick up the double kill, able to get a lot of pressure on mid tower, actually able to get to mid tower, and then unfortunately I'm going to have to burn teleport to get back to top lane to save the tower. So now that I'm back in top lane, I'm pretty sure that Jax has backed at this point. I have a pretty good thought that he's not sticking around. So my response is that I don't want them to have TP advantage, because that's going to allow them to control the Dragon Pit. So I'm going to push this lane as hard as I can to try and draw out the teleport from Jax, so that way neither of us have teleport. So if we try to go for a dragon fight, Jax can't swing the dragon fight in his favor. So I am able to successfully draw out the teleport, so that's very good. Mission accomplished. You see, lane gets reset, and I'm going to continue to not really push the lane. I'm going to try and harass Jax whenever I can, but I don't want to push the lane. I want him to push the lane, I want him to be the aggressor, and I'm just going to pretty much just last hit as much as possible, because I don't have vision since out. He's already been top lane so often, there's no reason for me to suspect that he's going to not stop camping. You see, I'm constantly keeping a pink ward in this tri-brush. Like, Xin Zhao killed a pink ward, so I just bought another pink ward. I always have a pink ward in this brush. And then, if I can, I try to ward one of these bushes, or try and ward here. So you can see, Xin Zhao, he hasn't had much luck trying to gank me through tri-brush, so now he's going to come up through these brushes. Definitely smart by him to try different ganking paths, but I'm still not going to fall for it. So we're now over 18 minutes in, and Xin Zhao has been ganked me. This is the 6th time he's come up to gank me in less than 20 minutes. And if you remember earlier what I was saying about, if you try to camp somebody and you don't get kills, you wind up being useless in the late game. So Xin Zhao hasn't had any impact in the lanes. He got 2 kills in bot lane because of a turret dive, just kind of cleaning up. He didn't really earn those kills. And you can see here, if we go to the gold tab, Master Yi, he's got a 2,000 gold advantage onto Xin Zhao already. And he's already got a pretty significant CS advantage as well, over 20 CS advantage. And that's just at the 20-minute mark. So already, Xin Zhao is just horribly, horribly behind because he tried to camp me so much and was not successful. So moving down to the bot lane, you can see that Master Yi teleports in. We got LeBlanc down here. It's pretty much a 4v2. And this could just be pretty much classified as rape. Pretty much, you know, they just absolutely destroy the enemy team. And feel sorry for you, Braum, but even the manliest of men get raped sometimes. But this really kind of allows us to pick up a really free dragon, because not only do they have 2 people who died, but Zhao spent all that time in top lane, so we know that he probably can't rotate to assist taking the dragon. But Ash is doing the right thing by pushing the lane to try and get this other tower. You want to kind of exploit an advantage as much as possible. So we're in this kind of situation. We just got the tower, we just got the dragon off of a double kill, and now we're getting this initiation in a 2v2. So Master Yi does a great job avoiding Diana's Crescent Strike, and then he's able to just stay alive long enough. He knows he's probably going to die in this situation because he's just getting focused down by 2 melee carries, but he stays alive long enough that both Xin Zhao and Diana are incredibly low health, and Ashe is pretty much at full health. So Ashe is able to pick up the first kill on the Xin Zhao, and then even though Braum does a great stand behind me, followed up by Unbreakable, Ashe is still able to get the kill with her flash. So this is kind of a very interesting thing because she kind of burns her flash to try and get the kill. She might have been able to still get the kill without burning flash and then flash over this wall to escape, but I think she had a feeling that she's probably going to die as soon as she saw Vayne round that corner there. So definitely good play. I'll just say that's a good play. But anyway, moving to the top lane. So Jax, you know, he wants to get this tower so badly, so he's pretty much going all in on the tower. And he even goes so far as to blow his counter strike so that he doesn't start taking damage from me. So all I'm doing is I'm just attacking him. Usually I would clear the wave, but because I know LeBlanc is rotating up, I want to kind of try and bait Jax to stay here. So I'm just attacking Jax, and I'm letting the wave stay alive. And now you can see Jax is able to get the tower, but he pretty much immediately dies. And as soon as he does that, well, I'm just going to push his wave even harder. And this is going to allow me to take his tower before he would even have a chance to respond. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm trading my tower for both his tower and a kill. And that's a trade that I'll make any day of the week. If I can get a tower and a kill for just a tower, then that's a pretty damn good trade for me. You see that LeBlanc's up top lane, so blue team is starting to group up and they're going to try and push a tower. Because they're at a pretty significant tower disadvantage, 1 to 3. They want to try and get this mid tower because that'll really open up the map for them. So you can see they're starting to push up, clearing out wards around mid lane, and they've got 4 people in this mid lane. So they're pushing up, but pretty good clear from Ashe. You get good clear from Morgana. So I'm going to back up real quick, because that kind of happened pretty quick. I don't know if you guys caught that. But we're just delaying here, buying time as long as possible until Morgana gets here. Because Yi's waiting right here, and we're just waiting for Morgana to show. So it's actually a 4v4. And you want to kind of take these fights when you're under tower. So you can see, binding comes out, and LeBlanc goes in. But for some reason, the binding hits Braum. So, I mean, that Morgana binding was coming at this area, but somehow it hits Braum, and binds him under tower as the minion wave dies, which not a bad thing, but I definitely would have preferred if that binding had hit Vayne. And then this is kind of just overkill with Ashe using her arrow to just keep Braum under the tower. He's gonna be dead no matter what. There's no need to blow your ultimate on Braum when you could save it for, you know, Vayne or Diana or another carry. So now we're in kind of a 4v3 situation. Master Yi's gonna go ham and start wrecking some people. You can see he focuses on Diana, activates his smite, activates his ultimate, and he's doing a ton of damage to her. For some reason, instead of continuing to try and finish her off, he kind of, you know, gets her below half health and then just stops and goes back and tries to attack Master or attack her Xin. And then Zhao is able to land his ult, get quite a bit of damage on, and now Master Yi is kind of bursted out quite a bit. And this allows Diana enough time to reset on all of her cooldowns so that they can pick up the kill onto Yi. Thankfully we were able to pick up counter kill, and at this point if Ashe had her arrow and she just fires her arrow here, they both get stunned and they both die pretty much instantaneously. But unfortunately, do not have the ultimate still left. Vayne blows her heal, which allows them to escape. Jack's making a good rotation, coming in hot, ultimate activated, but it's definitely not going to be enough, so we're going to back off pretty much immediately. So you can see how that fight went way in our favor just because we decided to start the team fight when we were under our tower. So they definitely have enough of a presence here that there's not much we're going to be able to do to stop this. The wave clear from Vayne and Jax is definitely too much. So you definitely don't want to force a fight, especially as the other team starts to respawn. You kind of want to go back, spend your money, and not give them a chance to get back into the game. Because so often I see people where they'll win a team fight, they'll get a couple kills, and they push, the enemy team responds, and then they wind up giving back those kills to the other team. They pretty much negate the advantage that they fought hard to get. You can see Jack's coming around here, he knows he's nearby, and he's going to engage onto Jax because he knows that I'm close by as well. Jax is just pretty beefy, but we're able to pick up the kill, but Xin Zhao and Diana come in to assist. So Yi is pretty much guaranteed to die here, but the problem is that they're not keeping track of my rage bar. So my rage bar is almost completely full. So as I slow this down, you can see rage bar is full. I'm going to start walking around a little bit, try and get them right into position to land the stun. So I land my stun, and that's pretty much all she wrote. We're able to pick up a double kill pretty easily onto the other team. So that really is the power of Gnar. Once you get into the mid and late game, is that anytime you fight around any type of terrain on League of Legends, you can just absolutely decimate opponents. So now we're in a pretty commanding position now. We've got the turret advantage, we've got the kill advantage, over 5k gold difference. You can see that the gold advantage with Yi and Xin Zhao is growing now to about 2,500, and you can see that Master Yi's got a 2-level advantage on him as well. So backing up right here, because LeBlanc's doing some great work pushing mid tower in the wake of that team fight. So she's able to pick up the tower, so you just gotta worry about retaliation. So Braum comes forward, flashes to try and get the ult, but Morgana gets a perfectly timed black shield to pretty much negate Braum's ult completely. And then we start getting into disengage. So As soon as I see Xin Zhao and Vayne coming forward and Braum is being so aggressive, I know that there's something that I gotta do to help the team. So I start to channel my teleport, and this is not at the ideal spot for this teleport. The ideal spot would have been like that minion or that ward, but when you're in solo queue, you're really kind of playing Russian roulette when you TP behind the enemy. Sometimes your team's gonna help, and sometimes they're not. So I kind of cheat a little bit, and I'm kind of like, alright, well if I teleport here, I should be able to help my team, and if my team doesn't help me, then I should be able to still get out. So I kind of play it safe and teleport here. You can see their team wisely backs off, and if I teleported to that ward, I definitely would be able to have a much better impact. Vayne does a great job condemning me right as I go for my wall up so I don't get stunned. But you can see here we land a good binding onto Braum, able to pick up the kill onto him. So at this point we're in a 4v3. Jax is rotating, and Yi kind of gets tunnel vision, right? It's great to kind of focus the carries and try and go for the carries, but if there's a freaking screaming Jax coming into your back line, there's no reason to engage in this 3v1 against the rest of their team when you can just turn around with your insane movement speed and just collapse on a 5v1 against Jax. We can see Yi completely kind of loses track of, you know, where the rest of his team is, and winds up dying for no reason. Thankfully we were able to pick up the kill on Jax, but without Yi there, Yi's got a lot of our gold in our team, and we're pretty low after that fight. So they do a very good job kind of turning the fight on us. I do my best to try and disengage as much as possible. Once Vayne gets bursted out here, I think that we can turn the fight in our favor. But LeBlanc and Ashe don't think so. They continue to back up while I try to fight it, and unfortunately I go down before I'm able to get that final shot onto Vayne. But I think that if we had been able to kill the Vayne, we probably would have been able to win that fight. You can see blue team's trying to push up towards mid tower. This is a very common tactic, especially when you're trying to set up for a dragon. You want to kind of push up mid tower, try to get some damage on mid tower, and then you back off and then you go for dragon. But you can see Master Yi is channeling his teleport. The other team spotted out with a ward that just expired. Master Yi is coming down pretty hard into the fight. So at this point, there's no real reason that you have to take this fight. All you gotta do is stall. Just wait for me to come back up. I'm still 2 seconds away. No reason to try and rush into a fight. But Jax is kind of teleporting in. This is a great play by LeBlanc to actually get the burst out onto Vayne. So as long as they just delay, like right now it's a 4v4. If you just delay here for a little bit, it'll soon become a 5v4 once I arrive. But you can see Yi's kind of very impatient, decides to try and go all in onto Braum and to Xin Zhao. Doing some great work, and probably could have actually won the fight here, except for the fact that we've got Ashe and LeBlanc just attacking Dragon instead. So instead of it being a 4v2 like it should be, it's a 2v2. And then once Jax shows up, now it turns into a 3v3. And they don't have any tanks, they don't have any ability to really peel, so they have no choice but to kind of back off away from this fight. So this kind of completely negates our ability to get the dragon. And you can see here they're backing off and they're going to just easily take the dragon. So as soon as I come in, I'm like, alright, well I definitely got to kill Xin Zhao first. He's the #1 priority. So I'm able to pick up the kill on Xin Zhao. And finally, Ashe and LeBlanc move to assist. But they definitely come too far forward. They don't respect the engage from Jax. And wind up getting the kill onto Ashe. But definitely a great job by LeBlanc to get the return kill onto Jax. And then as soon as I go Mega Gnar, I'm able to land my wall up and pretty much chain CC Braum until he dies. So really, there's no reason to force a team fight in that spot, right? You know that your top laner, your tank, is going to show up eventually. There's no reason to force it. Just delay. Just poke them, delay them. Just don't let them get the dragon, but at the same time, you don't have to start the fight until it's an unfair fight. Because you don't want to fight a fair fight in League of Legends. You want to try and get those ganks, get those advantages wherever you can. Kind of in a reset period. Definitely still in the lead. Pretty sizable gold lead, pretty sizable tower lead right now. And at this point, really, if we get one or two more good team fights, we can probably just close out the game completely. Because we've got their inner mid tower down, which means we can push that mid inhibitor if we get a good team fight, assuming that the waves are pushed. So the next objective that is going to really kind of come into question here is Baron. You can see both teams are trying to posture and position around the Dragon Pit, trying to get an advantage. And there's no real reason to force and engage right here, right? Because yet again, I'm still in base. There's no reason to try and fight in an unfair situation. And I don't really understand, why my team is trying to go for these engages when I'm not here. Is it do they not like me? Do they not like Gnar? I mean, what the heck? Why would you try and do a 4v5 team fight when you didn't have to? You can see here, he's coming in from the backside, and he's way out of position. Let me just put it that way. He's just way out of position. The team can easily just peel off and just completely focus him. And that's exactly what Jax and Zhao and Vayne do. Unfortunately for Diana, this kind of puts Diana in a bad spot. She kind of jumps in thinking her team's going to help, and then her team doesn't do anything. And as a Diana main, I feel her pain. Many times you jump in and your team doesn't follow up and you instantly regret diving in. So we get a 1-for-1. So now it's a 4v3 in their favor. I'm running as fast as I can on my little tiny Yordle feet here. You can see just real quick, as soon as I arrive, it completely changes this team fight. Because we can immediately pretty much kill off Vayne. We're able to focus down onto Braum, pick up the kill onto Braum, and then land the binding on Xin, pick up the kill onto Xin, and then Jax just barely gets away. Has to burn his flash. But that's the impact of actually fighting a fair fight. You never want to fight an unfair fight. As you can see right here, we're able to push, we got the wave on our side, and we can push towards the inhib. I know my team's not going to need my help to try and push this tower, so I'm going to try and punish them as much as possible by taking a second tower in top lane. However, our team is kind of not really paying attention to death timers. Jax is able to get a pretty dang good engage. You got Diana coming in. Jin Zhao just spawned. Vayne just spawned. And they're able to swing the team fight back in their favor. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier, that you don't want to overstay your welcome. You got to always keep track of death timers, because you can pretty much just give up the advantage you just got very easily. But we can see here that we've got almost a 10k gold lead. 6 set towers to 2, and pretty sizable kill differential. And we are going to wind up winning this game, even though we're continuing to make mistakes. But I kind of want to transition into the other topic that I wanted to talk about today, which was toxicity. And that's something that's always kind of existed, at least, I mean, I started playing in Season 1, and it existed even then. And it really kind of bothers me. Like, I don't understand why people would be, mean to one another on a video game. There's just doesn't seem like there's a point to it. But it used to be kind of, in the old days, that toxic people would come into the forums after they got a ban, whining and complaining, saying that they never done anything wrong, and their ban was undeserved. And on rare occasion, with the grandeur of a solar eclipse or a fireworks show, Riot Light would show up and smite the offending individual with their chat logs and send them slithering back into the darkness. And it was all tons of fun, great laughs, and I think the community was better for it because they could actually see that the system was working. However, recently, in the wake of certain more popular members of the League community being banned, this kind of conversation on toxicity has really kind of shifted. Now, instead of people making posts saying that they aren't toxic, they're making posts saying that their toxic behavior is somehow justified and it shouldn't be punished. This is just plain insanity, alright? You would have to be insane to go up to a stranger in real life and tell them to get cancer or kill themselves or any other one of the horrible things that I've seen some of these people say to each other in League of Legends over some slight that they performed on you in real life. Can you just imagine, like, if somebody's taking a long time at the grocery checking out and you were like, get cancer and die, you fucking faggot? Like, who would do that? Like, really, who would do that? So, I mean, if it's not acceptable to act like that in real life, what makes you think that it's acceptable to act like that in a video game? I mean, it's just a freaking video game. If you're an asshole to someone, it doesn't matter if it's a video game, you're still an asshole. So, but for those of you who think that it doesn't, that you don't have to have the normal, socially acceptable courtesy and standard of respect when you're on a video game and when you're on the internet, I kind of want to point you to Riot's terms of use, their code of conduct, and their summoner code, which is all stuff that you agreed to when you decided to play this game. And the terms of use for Riot are pretty freaking clear. And I'm actually just going to quote it directly. Riot Games reserves the right to suspend, terminate, modify, or delete your account at any time, for any reason or no reason, with or without notice to you, and with no liability of any kind to you. He goes on further to say that most account suspensions, terminations, and or deletions are the result of violating this agreement, the end user's license agreement, the private policy, or the summoner's code. Further down in the terms of use, there's a section on code of conduct, which says that when you're playing League of Legends, you agree to comply with all applicable laws, rules, and regulations, and you also agree to comply with additional rules that govern your use of the League of Legends. And it says that the following are examples of behavior that warrant disciplinary measures. Not that they might result in disciplinary measures, that they will result. And a couple of these are leaving the game, so going AFK during a game, harassing, stalking, or threatening other users in the game, or my personal favorite, transmitting or communicating any content which, in the sole and exclusive discretion of Riot Games, is deemed offensive, including, but not limited to, language that is unlawful, harmful, threatening, abusive, harassing, defamatory, vulgar, obscene, sexually explicit, or racially, ethically, or otherwise objectionable. So pretty much if you say anything that is rude to another person, Riot can ban you. So the final thing that I wanted to bring up is the Summoner's Code, which is kind of a guidelines of how you should be. And the Summoner's Code is kind of broken into 9 parts, and they go into each part 9 parts in detail, but I'm just going to kind of gloss over them really fast. So the Summoner's Code, the 9 parts are: 1. Support your team. 2. Drive constructive feedback. 3. Facilitate civil discussion. 4. Enjoy yourself, but not at anyone else's expense. 5. Build relationships. 6. Show humility in victory, grace in defeat. 7. Be resolute, not indignant. 8. Leave no newbie behind. And 9. Lead by example. If you're being toxic to another person, if you're being rude or disrespectful to another person, you're not supporting your team, you're not driving constructive feedback, you're not facilitating civil discussion, You are maybe enjoying yourself, but you're definitely doing it at someone else's expense. You're not building relationships, you're not showing humility or grace, you're not being resolute, you're definitely not helping new people play the game, and you're not leading by example. You're violating every single part of the Summoner's Code if you're trying to be toxic to a person, or you're being rude to another person in this game. So if you don't agree to the terms of use and you don't agree to the Summoner's Code, then don't freaking play the game. Alright? If you click I agree to the terms of use and then you act toxic, you're a liar. You said you were going to agree to those terms and then you immediately break the terms. So you're a liar. Alright? You agreed to not be a douchebag and then you get pissed off and you get banned for being a douchebag. It doesn't make any sense. Alright? This is like entering a club after you promise the bouncer not to start a fight and then you punch the dude, the first person you see, because he spills his drink on you. And then you get pissed off because the bouncer throws you out on the street. I really don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. But this whole conversation really got me thinking, why are people toxic? What's the root cause of toxicity? I'm not talking about the people who respond to toxic people by being toxic themselves. I can understand losing your temper sometimes and saying stuff that you don't mean or that you don't, truly believe. Kind of, getting hot-blooded. It's definitely not justified, but I can at least understand. I can at least sympathize with you. But if you're one of those people, let me kind of tell you this. If you wrestle with a pig, you're going to get dirty, and he's just going to enjoy himself. So there's no reason to do it. Alright? So what I don't understand, though, are the people who purposely log onto the game to berate other people and try and ruin their day. It doesn't make any sense, right? Why purposely try to lose and turn your teammates against you when winning and getting along with the people is way more fun? Then it hit me. These people are so unhappy in League because they're unhappy in life. It's the only thing that makes sense. These people hate their lives and they're full of rage, so they log on to a video game where they can be anonymous and they can try to steal other people's happiness. When you think about it this way, it really kind of sounds pathetic. I mean, how pathetic and cowardly do you have to be to purposely log onto a video game and waste countless hours leveling up that account just so you can ruin the game for other people? And I know what you guys are probably thinking. I just spent the past couple minutes talking about how you should always be respectful for people, and now I'm calling these people pathetic and cowardly. I know it sounds pretty rough, but there's a point to all this. Once I accepted these facts, I didn't hate those trolls anymore. I pitied them. Now when people try to rage at me or troll me, I just laugh. Their words can't hurt me. And the point of this video is that they shouldn't hurt you either. Who cares what some random idiot thinks about you? Just laugh at them. You can't stop people from trolling you. However, you do have a choice in how you respond. You are in control of your emotions, not them. They can't ruin the game for you if you don't let them. If you're one of those people who is going through a hard time in your life and you resort to trolling to make yourself feel better, please stop. Alright? We all go through hard times in our lives. We're all pathetic sometimes. The only way we can stop being pathetic is to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and actually solve our problems. Trolling people in games is just an escape. It doesn't help you solve your problems. If you need help, there are countless people on the internet, myself included, who are willing to help you. No matter what you're going through in life, there are people out there who have gone through the same thing and will help you. So if you're struggling with something in your life and you need help, please let me know. I will do my best to help you. And if I can't help you, I'll try to find somebody who can. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, please like the video. And this is Randomonium, signing off.